Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. Fairly rare video, this one. It is the Pokemon trading card game, but it's very rare that I've ever done trades, and that's exactly what you're seeing in front of you. A few weeks back, Pokemon Argentina TCG, I saw him post stories or a post on his wall that he was looking to trade EX era PSA 10s for WOTC sealed product. I just so happened to have a fossil box that I picked up a few months back, and I had thought about breaking it, wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. So I decided to just send him a message and see if we could work something out. And everything you see here, I didn't straight up trade for the box. I actually added some money. We kind of did like two separate little deals. He sent me a batch. I verified, received that, then I sent him the box, and then I actually kind of purchased a little bit additional. But yeah, I guess I'll get into a little bit as I start showing the cards. I'll show the ones first that weren't PSA 10. But my thinking was selling a box is a little bit even for me. I mean, I've sold quite a few 5-figure items, but selling a sealed box, I had no concerns over the box, but it's still a little bit scary. You never know who you're going to get on the other end as a buyer, and I just had the concern that they might try to screw around and say it was resealed. I mean, technically you could never be 100% sure, but I was 99.9% sure it wasn't. It passed every test for me. I got it through a trusted source, so at the end of the day, trading it was just a bit more comfortable thing for me. I think I traded it for a reasonable amount of value. I should be able to sell these and get about the same amount of value out of them, the ones that I traded for. But yeah, just a little bit of the discussion about the reasoning why I traded. Additionally, people might have seen my recent video where I bought a complete EX Delta Species master set from Golden. It wasn't advertised as a master set, but I kind of lucked out. But I do have these 3 raw, so these aren't from that lot, but I have these 3 raw, mint condition, potentially gem. But yeah, overall I have quite a massive Pokemon inventory, heavily skewed towards vintage and heavily skewed towards, I guess less heavily, but still heavily skewed towards modern. So if you were to chart like where the value lies in my collection and where exactly that is, there would be it would be like a big parabola with all the value lying at the ends. WOTC, modern. So part of the reasoning I went for this trade was to do a bit of like diversification. That's also why I was looking into picking up those EX era sets from Golden. So this enabled me to take about, the fossil boxes are going for about 10,000 right now. So I picked up a low 5-figure position, if you want to call it that, in mid-era cards. These have done really well lately. Kind of an interesting trade too, because fossil boxes peaked last fall. I don't even know exactly where, probably near 20,000, and they've dropped quite a bit. Well, the EX cards haven't really dropped. They're kind of still on the upswing. Some of them are still setting new records. A couple of them have fallen off. Some of these are so low pop, though, they really haven't transacted a bunch. But yeah, it's just, to me, I've got a decent amount of other WOTC sealed, and I just had this extra fossil box kicking around that I felt more comfortable. And my strategy with these, like, I do really like the cards. I actually sold my PSA 9 set. I have a handful of these raw, very few, probably none of them mint, like binder copies. But yeah, as I mentioned, just kind of diversifying my portfolio a bit. Not that trading Pokemon cards for Pokemon cards is like true diversification, but more so diversifying across eras of the franchise. So yeah, I have about half of these listed on eBay right now, and I've gotten a decent bit of interest. I don't believe I've sold any yet from this lot, but I'm not gonna be too aggressive with selling these. I will price to the lowest on eBay, but some of these are just so low pop that there's not many out there. So it's like the last sold and the lowest list might have a pretty big gap, and I'll just slide in lowest listed but probably a fair bit above last sold and just take it slow with these. I'm so back and forth on what I think the future prospects are, both for the Fossil First Edition box and for these PSA 10s. I think that we may have a ways down to go on the box especially, whereas these cards, just because there's so much fewer out there, it's really hard to say. I don't anticipate, because I did have a recent return video maybe a few weeks ago that had a handful of like EX Era Hollows, but I have, if I remember correctly, I believe I have 0 old school EXs remaining at PSA. I think there was 1 or 2 PSA 8s in that 400 card return. So yeah, that's just kind of my thinking. I thought the whole trade thing was kind of fun and interesting to talk about too. So many times you'll see people posting on a forum or on a Facebook group, hey, I want to trade this for that. I mean, the reason money was invented however many millennia ago or whatever, when people were transacting with gold coins, if a baker's got bread and a farmer's got cattle that they want to trade, well, it's so hard. I mean, the farmer may not necessarily want bread, the baker may not necessarily want cattle. So that's why money came about, to be a medium of exchange so that you could trade into money and then trade for what you want. It's just so tough. It's so tough to find two parties with exactly what they want. And then even if you find that scenario, like it is pretty rare where you get agreement on a valuation. And just again to shout out Pokemon Argentina TCG, he was very easy to work with. I think we were both really reasonable in our valuations. So the trade went really smoothly. He sent first based on my position in the community and just trusting in me. So that made it a lot easier. Another big hurdle for like actually trading these Pokemon trading card game cards or boxes, whatever. Another big hurdle a lot of times is trust. So it was great that he was able to trust me and we were able to just get it done without having to worry about middlemen. Or one thing that I always recommend, if I've had people ask, like, how do you do a trade? Who should you use as a middleman? I mean, I think there's a lot of trusted people in the community who probably do middlemaning, but one thing that's always an option is you can always do like a PayPal invoice to each other and just essentially buy the items off each other. If you want to be a little more risky about it, like this was about a $10,000 valuation in the initial part of our trade, we could have each done $5,000 to $8,000 through PayPal to save a little bit on fees. If we wanted to risk a little bit, save a little bit, whatever. But worst case scenario, you're looking at 3.5% for each person to pay. I mean, we would have each paid $350 in PayPal fees to just be fully secured. So yeah, that's always an option if you do find someone who isn't trusted, or whether they may be trusted in the community and just you're not comfortable taking that big of a risk. I mean, these are pretty big numbers we're talking about these days. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick video kind of discussing trades, the trade that I made, and then my reasoning why. So that's everything. I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you all later.